This move is becoming larger than the move we saw when Bitcoin made its run up from $60,000 or $58,000 to $109,000. This M2 move, which seems to correlate to Bitcoin's moves, is bigger than that move, or it's becoming bigger than that move as we speak. Hey guys, my name's Colin and this is Colin Talks Crypto. Thank you for joining me. Bitcoin just passed $88,000 on a surge of liquidity. Is this the big blast off that we've been waiting for in global M2 money land? Global M2 keeps making new highs. I'm not going to go over all the history this time in this video. If you aren't tracking with what I'm talking about with the global M2 relationship, the apparent predictive correlative relationship to Bitcoin, I recommend you watch my past videos, even just the last video I've done before this one, to catch you up to speed about what this is all about. We're going to dive right into this video, okay? A lot has happened and a lot of exciting things are happening. So first of all, I've shown you two charts at the same time here. We're going to look at each independently, but basically they're just two different views. We have the 78-day offset, basically meaning that the global M2 money supply has been pushed forward by 78 days. And then on the bottom half, we have the 108-day offset, which is pushed forward by another 30 days. And so you can see that in one scenario, we're basically mid the blast off. And Bitcoin has been making moves that have sort of backed that up recently. However, I'm not ready to just completely say that this is it. I think it looks good, but I'm a little, I guess you could say I'm conservative about making these judgment calls because first of all, there is a 20% chance of decorrelation or non-correlated periods, both to the upside and the downside. And secondly, the micro rally here present on the 108-day offset, which is what this could be. It is possible that this move could be this little micro rally. But even in that quote unquote worst case scenario, which is really not that bad of a deal because you have this coming either way, we have what, like a week before blast off in this scenario, but it's possible that we could be in the blast off. We could be in it right now. And it's mirroring and tracking very nicely for the past 10 to 14 days, really. Like it's looking really good. And the correlation is starting to come back on the 78-day offset chart. So global M2, let's step back for a moment here and just look at this. Global M2 has been heading up, basically this vertical move for over 3 months now. There's a little bit of a sideways chop here, and that could be perhaps a top or a corrective period for about a month. But if you really step back, I mean, it didn't stop. We kind of thought maybe it was stopping here, but then it did this. So it's kind of hard to say that the M2 move stopped really at all, because if you step back, this is just one giant move for over 3 months, and it has not stopped. This move is becoming larger than the move we saw when Bitcoin made its run up from $60,000 or $58,000 to $109,000. This M2 move, which seems to correlate to Bitcoin's moves, is bigger than that move, or it's becoming bigger than that move as we speak. I did not anticipate that when I started making these videos around this period. I just saw that it was making a nice move up like this, and it just kept going. And here we are a couple months later, and it just kept going vertical. So I feel lucky that I got my eye on this chart when I did, because it really does seem like it was the beginning of something huge. So that's my question. Is this move up in Bitcoin right here? Is this actually because we're in the blast off zone? It's very possible. It could be, absolutely. Or is it that we're in this little micro rally? It'll chop a little more for maybe another 10 days. And then as we approach May, then it really, really takes off. Either scenario to me is valid. I give them 50-50 at this point. And either is awesome because of this. And I think it's important just to step back. I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. It's best to focus on the big picture. This is the big picture. Fiddling around with the offsets and the 10 days here, the 30 days there is not as big of a deal. This, like if this wasn't happening, it wouldn't matter whether we use the 78 or 108-day offset. That's a good way to put this in perspective. Here's the 78-day. If this M2 move wasn't happening, it wouldn't matter, right? So this is the thing that's the predominance of importance. And it does look like we are making some nice moves. I've learned to be slow to make an assumption. just because of the volatility, the 20% non-correlated periods, and the fact that the 108-day chart does have this little micro rally. But we will find out, just a matter of 10 more days, and we'll probably have so much more information. Like, for example, in 10 more days, if Bitcoin's price just keeps going up and we hit like 95,000, let's say we hit 95,000 by May, it looks pretty compelling to me at that point that the 78-day offset, give or take a couple days here, is the correct offset. And to those people who get caught up in the weeds, and I'll admit it, I myself got caught up in the weeds there, trying to play which one's best. The 108 is better than the 78. And I could be wrong. It's interesting though, because this mini rally that fails was followed so closely by the Bitcoin price. Like, I made this sort of prediction in advance and it played out 100%. And that's like a multi-week correlation. So that's why I'm not quick to throw this one out the window. I mean, you can see periods here like this where Bitcoin does deviate. It does decouple. So it's possible that we're in a decoupled period right now if the 108-day chart is correct. But if the 78-day chart is correct, which, by the way, also has enormous decouple periods, like enormous. This is why it kind of deterred me initially, because, I mean, this is just not correlated really at all. But it could be recovering. Maybe this arch here is kind of like this here, and we already saw the micro rally. Here's the two tops. I mean, that looks pretty good, right? And maybe this bottom here was this bottom right before it blasted off. So that's why I say I give the 78-day at least a 50% chance of being correct here. But again, let's step back. Let's enjoy the glory that is coming. I mean, if either of these scenarios is correct, this is what's happening next. This is what's happening. And so I just wanted to bring you this quick update to show you this. Things are looking great to me. We're right on track. I'm extremely excited to watch this and track it, and I will continue to cover it and bring you daily or semi-daily charts to keep up with this, because I think it's amazing. And I want to add a couple more things to the end of this video. So I've seen some global M2 doubters and haters out there, and I agree it's good to question everything. And I also think that it's important not to put your entire basis for an investment on one chart. Like, do not just invest your life savings on the global M2 chart. I think it's compelling, absolutely. That's why I'm covering it. But I think it's good to look at other charts, other metrics. I've created, for example, a Bitcoin index. Many of you may not know about this, CBBI.info, the Colin Talks Crypto Bitcoin Bull Run Index. And Kamil Manich from Poland, actually the developer, helped me automate that. It aggregates 9 different metrics that have historically been reliable top and bottom indicators for the Bitcoin bull run. And you can see each cycle here. Each of these is a different cycle, each of these blue peaks and valleys. So I've really poured my heart and soul into creating this tool for free. Again, everything I've created is for free, 100%. So this is something that I will be taking a look at as we get closer to a top. Like, when I feel like the global M2 has maybe topped out and we see it heading down for a while in advance, right? Because it's predictive. Then I'm going to start taking a look at the CBBI and I'm going to go, hey, how overheated are we? Are we at 90? Are we at 80? Like, if we're not at 80, then I'm not going to even bat an eye about taking profits. If we're at 90, that's when I get interested. Personally speaking, it's not financial advice. I'm not saying that's when everyone should take profits. Whatever your risk tolerance is, maybe you feel more comfortable taking profits 80 on up. I think that I'm going to take them 90 on up, especially given the fact that the previous bull run in 2021 was sort of stunted as a double top. And that served to, in a way, pull down the averages of the prices because we didn't get a blow off top as much as the prior 2 cycles here and here. So if anything, in my opinion, the 2021 double top sort of pulled down the averages of all of these metrics, all these 9 metrics. And if that happens, then that would mean that we might get a little more aggressive of a CBBI index number here as Bitcoin approaches the top. So for me, if anything, I'm going to avoid 80 to 85 because I feel like that's too conservative on the back of an already more conservative index figure based on the stunted 2021 Bitcoin double tops. I've never explained that really before, but I just wanted to share that's kind of how I'm looking at this. So for me, I feel like 95 to 100 is golden. It's possible it even flatlines at the top of the chart here if things go too bullish, euphoric, and parabolic. But I think that would still be a good time. And I'm just guessing, right? but 90 to 100 looks pretty good to me. I guess I should be pointing over here, 90 to 100 on this side. Okay, so that's one of the main things. I have several others and I will cover them as well. I have quite a few other things actually. I look at a lot of metrics and I will cover them as we get close. But right now we're in the broad strokes of the move. So there's not really a need to look and micromanage where the top could be when we see this in front of us. And CBBI is in the 60s. So I'm not going to check that chart every day, the CBBI. I'm going to look at the global M2. I'm going to see how long does this thing run up for? And then as a side note, I'll look at the CBBI as we get closer to the top. And then once we get closer to the top, I will be looking at that every single day. And I'll cover that in depth. And I'll probably even break down the individual charts with you on that in future videos. Okay, so for those guys who doubt the M2, and it's good to question everything. That was a long detour, by the way, but we're back. If you don't like this global M2 correlation or you doubt it, that's fine. But just look at the gold chart correlation to Bitcoin and to the global M2, because actually the global M2 chart is very similar to the gold chart. So you can dismiss the global M2 chart, but then look at the gold chart. I'm just going to point out those moves like up, down here, this move up, this move up. They mirror each other quite well. Sideways, sideways, and then big up period, big up. Here's a subtop, here's a subtop. Here's it starting to break out almost. Here's gold breaking out. You see gold has front run the global M2. So in a way right now, it's almost as if gold is showing us what's going to happen. Gold was making all-time highs before global M2 was making all-time highs. Note that this chart is a few weeks old. This was about a month ago or so. And here's another chart made by Decode Jar. Follow him on X. Here he is. And this is the Bitcoin versus gold chart. So we just looked at the gold versus M2 chart. Now here's the gold versus Bitcoin chart. And you can see the correlation is uncanny. So you can pause this and look at this if you want, but you can see that basically gold is moving up first and Bitcoin, until really just a few days ago, had yet to move up. And now Bitcoin is starting to move up. So you can see that this is also playing out in a predictive correlative fashion. So you can throw away the global M2 chart if you hate it. If you're a hater, that's fine. But then you have to explain how the gold chart leads and predicts the Bitcoin price, which it also does. And so good luck. I think that actually, if anything, if you're rational and you're looking at this, you're going, wow, there's two independent metrics that are saying the same thing. Both gold and global M2, which kind of mirror each other, thus validating each other, are both forecasting a huge move up of liquidity for Bitcoin because they both front run Bitcoin. They both forecast and predict Bitcoin's price moves 80% of the time. 20% of the time, as we've covered before, they will be non-correlated periods, absolutely. And lastly, just to add the cherry on top, someone I respect very much, Bob Lucas, a veteran in this game. He's a great guy. I recommend you follow him. He does awesome macro swing trade analysis of the Bitcoin price moves. He has just said and shared this chart. So it's not just me saying that gold is breaking out. He says the gold move has been insane and is now going parabolic. And he says an intermediate term trend top is very much on the horizon now. And I'll zoom in on this chart. And you can see that gold has broken out of this ascending channel. So this is a very bullish move here. I don't know where it will stop, and I don't think anyone does. He's saying it's an interim move. So he thinks it'll come back down and then make another top later this year, which is entirely possible given this pattern here. You can see kind of the flow of things. So that would make sense if that happens. But Bob's been in the game for a long time, and even he has analyzed gold that it's making a breakout move. And when gold makes a breakout move, Bitcoin does too, traditionally and historically. Okay, guys, I hope you're doing well. I hope that this brings enlightenment to you, and I am super excited to continue following this. Please share this video. If you haven't already, please tell your friends to follow me on X. If you don't follow me on X, then you're missing content. I make posts on there daily. My username is Colin T Crypto. Have a great day.